a goal, Quishbilly Huddersfield Town! The most famous goal of Quishbilly's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Thank you.
And Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello and welcome to episode 180 of the Andy Takes That Chance podcast. Town score a point in the smog in the hometown of Jonathan Hogg. Dr. Burgzorg makes his debut. Booyaka booyaka, he's 6'9", but Carl Hudlin gains another extension. And there's plenty more for us to dissect this week. Joining myself, Matt Shaw, to do just that is the Bear, Richard Kosmala. And making his seasonal debut, it's Jonathan Gillespie. How are we doing?
Good. I think this is
very well, thank you.
It's not Burnley, is it? Let me just check. Huddersfield. Definitely, they sent me Huddersfield. You can't make it up, can you? Someone called Mark Cox getting a cocked-up shirt, can you? Unbelievable, mate. Honestly, it must be doing rounds on some of them high-profile banter stuff, because I've had a few people that had naught to do with town saying, what's this all about? So, Mark, if you're watching, and I know you do, mate, you are going viral and global.
I don't know if that's a good thing, Mark, unfortunately, but maybe I'll get a new shout.
Town's shop, that is for sure.
Anyway, speaking of shops, you can get 10% off all Magic Rock paraphernalia online if you use our code of AHTTC10. If you go to magicrockbrewing.com, jump on the checkout there and use AHTTC10 and you'll get 10% off all online orders. Right, guys, my voice is absolutely done. I've had a chest infection all week. I'm really struggling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about Huddersfield Town going to Middlesbrough, getting a 1-1 draw, and hopefully you two can dissect this and give my voice a rest. So Middlesbrough 1, Town 1, a to and fro battle. Boro started quite well. Town came back into it in that first half. Great save by Lee Nicholls with the leg, and then Town hit the post through Brahima Diarra. But was it a handball by Mr. Lenihan? I'm not too sure. Guys, talk us through that first half.
Yeah, it wasn't an handball, Matt. I've freeze-framed it loads of times. It's his chest and then come back out and that as well. Good, mate. Enjoyed the game. It's not often you can say about our games. End to end. A lot happening. Again, similar theme to all games I've seen all season, to be honest. We're good on the counter. We're good hitting on the break and stuff, and we look really sharp. I thought Sorba Thomas was excellent. A promising last couple of games for Sorba and that as well. Obviously, for me, you don't need to win any fans over, but unfortunately, we have got some bizarre fans who've got issues just because he wanted Wales to beat England. But so he's got to win all them over. But I think he's really good. I think Warnock's obviously he's been quite vocal about him. I mean, he can get away with it, can't he? Because he's kind of a man who needs managed. I don't know, we're kind of into not a troublemaker, but he's like got plenty to say as Sorba and that as well. So I think he's got the right man there in Neil Warnock, and he looked really dangerous. And it were almost like going back to the promotion season, wasn't it, with his goal? It was just like, promotion season, a playoff season where Thomas gets a corner, you expect stuff to happen, and it did in that as well. But yeah, the first half, I thought we were, good. A bit out of the blue, really, the Diarra thing. I know you thought it might be on ball, Matt, but I've watched it a few times. Definitely not as well.
I'm just watching it now, mate, and it's. I'm not sure his right arm and his body's there. It's
no one appealed for it and all. I think that tells you all you need to know.
I don't think anyone can see, can they? I think that's the other thing between Diarra and the defender. I think it's blocked slightly, but yeah.
Again, Lee Nicholls, and I don't know. Obviously, Leicester, by his own high standards, he'll be disappointed with that. But again, we're back to form today. He's absolutely. I know it's an obvious thing to say, but he's absolutely massive for Huddersfield Town. I'd rather not have a striker or a ball playing 8 and 10 if it meant keeping Lee Nicholls. If it meant that Lee Nicholls would stay, obviously we want him to stay. But the trouble is, teams are going to be watching some of that stuff that he did like yesterday, and it's like, yeah, maybe a cheeky offer, but he's so good for us. He didn't cost us a penny, Matt, did he? I'm trying to think.
It's free.
unbelievable, man! What a signing for us. But yeah, in the first half, I just thought we looked good for like 15 minutes, but then I thought Boro kind of bossed the rest of the first half as well. But obviously 0-0 at that point.
Jonny?
Yeah, we were just saying it's one of them classic games that if you ask a Boro fan, they think they deserve to win it, and if you ask the Town fan, you probably make an argument for Town deserve to win it. Neil Warnock certainly came out and said in his interview with Raj through the club that he was disappointed not to kind of come away with a win, but obviously took a lot of positives from the performance itself. I guess my opinion is from watching it, I thought the point was relatively fair. I watched the highlights again this morning, which obviously don't tell the full picture. And there were a few of those Boro chances, looks and thought we were very lucky to have Lee Nicholls in net, and they're very lucky that they didn't seem to have that kind of cutting edge to put a bit of quality in. But then, like I say, equally we had our chances too. I think it's a step up in performance. It's not necessarily a step up in effort because obviously they thought the effort was fantastic against Leicester, but it was there again against Boro. I think if we keep nothing's really changed, but if we keep playing how we are, we can have a bit of quality and keep that endeavour. We will get results in this league. I know Boro haven't necessarily started well, but I thought they played well. I thought you could see the quality they had, certainly in midfield, was showing through. But we did enough to keep it at bay and kind of limit the chances. And obviously, we keep saying it's become a bit of a soundbite by the club, isn't it, that we have the best keeper in the league, but we certainly have one of the best keepers in the league. That Dominic's part of our 11 and he's an asset in our squad, so it's okay. He got man of the match, and sometimes it can point to a bit of a negative performance when your keeper gets man of the match, but he's very much part of the 11 and he's very much part of our arsenal. So, I think he obviously kept us in it, but I think also we were definitely worthy of the point, and depending on who you ask, potentially worthy of a bit more.
I think as well, Matt, I think part of the first half, a bit worried at half time. I text you, but obviously the bookings to Hogg and Radoni, especially Hogg, him getting the booking so early on, he was like, because they had, a lot of pace as well. The guy who they signed to replace the striker, God, I forgot his name.
Latte.
What's it? Latte. It sounds like someone from Costa Coffee, doesn't it? But he had a lot of pace, Matt. But yeah, he was good. He stretched us as well, and I think as we saw against Plymouth, and we've got a solid defence, I think, but we ain't got much pace there, have we? So if they can get in behind us, it always is a bit of a concern. But yeah, that's what they say. As we went into the sheds, I were quite, we give as good as we got from me, so I was quite pleased, and it was a good game to watch. So yeah, I was quite happy with that.
Yeah, so Town second half they came out and started really brightly, didn't they? And it was the corner from Sorba Thomas, which has been turned into his own net by Dale Fry. Town in the ascendancy that was. And we looked like we could grab a second, didn't we? We actually looked really good for that sort of 15-minute spell. But we sort of failed really to sort of capitalise on a good position. I know it failed to is probably a harsh term, but the game was probably there for the taking, I guess, at that point. And, I think you can look at that two ways. You can either say credit to Middlesbrough for coming back into it because they did, and they were good when they did. And also credit to Town for, trying to finish Middlesbrough off, but it just wasn't to be, was it? And Sorba Thomas was quite good, wasn't he, throughout the game, Kosi, like you said. We're looking at 3 key passes. He's worked quite hard throughout. Some good delivery into the box, working back as well. Back on form, which was good, even though some of his naysayers who I speak to still wouldn't give him any credit from the game and would only point to him cupping his ear, I think, at the goal, which is a bit odd behaviour, isn't it? But that's what he does. He does odd things. But yeah, that sort of first half of the second half was pretty good.
I think the trouble is, Matt, we are, and until we get maybe some, like again, ball playing midfielder or something a bit more offensive, we're always just going to be on the retreat. Really, I didn't see us as soon as we scored. I'm thinking, we're just going to kind of sit in there really, and probably again try and counter at some point. But yeah, we're just. I'm not saying it was like a Lamo, because far from it and that as well. But yeah, Boro. To be fair, Matt, I didn't think Boro, as well as they had a bit of pace, up front. I didn't see them, kind of ripping us really, and that as well. But then again, I know you say it's my pet hate or bugbear, Matt, but I've watched it today. I've really battled with myself in my head about this, but I'm gonna just say, because you can analyse everything to bloody death, can't you? But it would a bloody brilliant goal, wasn't it, from that Aidan Hackney, and that fantastic hit. But again, I still can't get out of my head. There's about 4 or 5 town players, but ultimately is, been positive. He's gone in there and he's hit an absolute rasper there. That as good as Nicholls is, has got no chance. But part of me thinks again is Thomas kind of, but no, shut up, because it was a brilliant strike, and you've just got to take your hat off to him rather than trying to analyse everyone. But what do you think Warnacle has said in their match? Do you think he'll be disappointed with it or not, or will he just kind of accept it?
Not with the strike. There's nothing you can do with the strike. It's brilliant. It's how he got there. Maybe you can be slightly disappointed. I think Tom Edwards has a chance, doesn't he? It's at one point, Sorba's working back, and midfield, he's a central midfielder, is Hackney. So who's tracking him, you can say, but I don't know. I think when someone scores a goal like that, I'd just rather sort of just dip the old hat and just say, you know what, great strike, well done. Johnny, go on.
No, I agree. I think, like I just said, you can analyse everything, and no doubt they will do. Certainly in modern day football as it is now. I think if any time a goal goes in, there's always things you can point to. Not individuals in a negative way, but people in the roles on the football pitch that could have done something a little bit better because the player's still got an ambition to score, then ultimately has scored. But then sometimes, you know what I mean, say if you do concede a goal like that to that quality, that it's one of those things that you can't stop. Like if you go back to the Plymouth goal, there's loads of things that people could have done differently and try to prevented goals. But I think you're going to concede a goal. Sometimes it's from a managerial point of view, it's not a bad one to concede. But I think you've just got to look at the quality of the goal, really. I wouldn't necessarily be too upset to concede that if I was Neil Warnock.
I think they'll be more upset with our goal than we are with theirs, to be fair, when you watch them both back.
Yeah. I mean, it was a brilliant centre, wasn't it, from Thomas. But I don't know what you guys thought at that time, but I just thought it was so important we didn't lose. So, and we should have done, really. That's when Silver, incredible miss, really. Although someone pointed out to me on my WhatsApp that Elix were a bit more of an incredible miss, but he should have scored there. But I were kind of thinking, I'll take my point. I just thought if we'd have lost to Boro, it would have been, we needed to get something from the game as well. So I wasn't too fussed that, we didn't really offer a right lot coming after that. I'll tell you one guy who just made me smile because, again, although some people were criticising him on social media, that's surprising. You don't normally get that on social media with Town. Everyone's normally really supportive of their players. But yeah, Matty Pearson, he was absolutely knackered. I mean, the pace Boro had, the guy was just he seemed to be getting run out left, right and centre for 93 minutes or whatever they played as well. I didn't have any issues at all with his performance as well. Some people were saying he didn't look fit and,
Chicking had him man of the match, I think. Chicking gave him a 9. Yeah.
I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, I'd say he had a really good game.
He was on his haunches as well. He just gives everything. And the one thing that was being mentioned as well, I totally agree. I don't know whether he works on this in training. I'd love to have a little peer through McDonald's fence and sneak on a look at our training session. But Matty Pearson in the box, in the other end, he seems to take great pride. I mean, his shot his shot was nearly a goal, wasn't it? But that's a great to control that on his style like that and turn. That's a real skill. That's a lot harder than it looks. He executes it really well. When we were used to Chuck F up there, obviously in the golden times and that as well. Mike Pearson's got some really good skills. I think more than kind of F was, and I know it'd be a bit desperate, really.
Steady.
Yeah, because I don't Carl Ludlin would be too happy. But honestly, I think what I'm trying to say is Nicholls and Pearson are absolutely massive for Huddersfield Town. I get the feeling as well they're great leaders. Just listening to Nicholls' post-match, obviously Pearson coming back last year, I think were massive in us staying up, and massive praise to them too. I think they're so big for us. I know Tom Lees obviously is to come back, but I won't want to lose any of them too. I think it'd be a huge blow if we did. But no, honestly, Mike Pearson last night, he can't have done anything but just go home and just lie on his sofa and order delivery or whatever, because he ran himself to death, man. And they had so much pace up front, but I was pleased in the end just to kind of get a draw, really, especially with the incident in the injury time. But a good point and a good game, I thought.
I was a bit surprised, to be honest, with the Matty Pearson thing, because I just thought he was fairly solid. I didn't think he was brilliant, and I didn't think he was rubbish. I thought the Latte Leth, I think it's called, isn't he? The striker. I thought he ran him quite ragged a couple of times, but he never really got behind or beyond, which was credit to Matty Pearson. And him and Hellick were just solid for me. They're both fine. I thought they both defended relatively well. Matty Pearson put one or two decent blocks in, I think, which probably nudges him ahead of Hellick, in terms of, if you're picking a man of the match award. But I think there was only one player really who I struggled with yesterday, and he disappointed me.
I know you're going to say
and I don't really want to say it because everyone's jumping on him, all over social media, and I don't really think it's fair, some of the comments he's getting. But I did think Danny Ward struggled yesterday. A lot of balls went forward to him, and he won next to nothing really. And he just looks like he's carrying maybe a niggle somewhere for me. Danny Ward is just doesn't seem to be quite moving as well as what he was at the end of last season. I don't know whether that's just me making an excuse for him. I don't know, but in games like this, if it's not working, because Danny Ward's not going to play well every week, is he? You are going to have games like that. It just highlights, doesn't it, the lack of quality depth. You've got unknown quantities in Harrott and Hudlin, and I like both of them. But at this point, if Danny Ward's not having his best game, this is where you kind of want to go, right, okay, here's the other striker, or you want to be rotating, ideally. And this is where the other decent striker, you throw him on, he holds the ball up, and you get that foothold in the final third. But I think some of the comments on Danny Ward are a bit strong, but I don't think he excelled. But I don't really want to dig him out either, because he was great for his end of last season and the season before, Danny Ward. So
it's one game, isn't it? And I'm not saying it's necessarily been electric in the first two, but it's one of them where you've got a bit of credit in the bank. But you are right. I think a couple of times his ball's in defeat. He tried to play a couple of first-time passes, and funny enough, there was one absolutely shocking pass that he played into feet first time, which then actually ended up.
It
was one of those where it's so bad that it almost became good again, and that's what led to the corner for the goal. But it's the thing is, it's we know what we're getting with Danny Ward, and he's another year older. He struggled to complete games last season. Not necessarily just on fitness, just on injuries. And I don't like to dig him out because of that, because he might turn around and say, well, I was giving everything to get 60 out of me. Do you know what I mean? It's not the fact he's for lack of fitness. Yeah. But again, it's where the club need to come and help him, because we obviously got Harrott, we've got Hudlin. Fair enough. I think they've both started the season as well as we could have hoped. And there's certain positives there from both of those players. But it's where the club need to come and help him, and maybe bring in someone with that bit more seniority, bit more nous, bit more experience, certainly at Championship EFL level, that they can alternate, because the club can't be relying on Danny Ward to start every week, because it's not fair on him. And I think we will start to see more performances like that, which may be a bit tired, maybe carrying a knock. And it's not to dig him out, because he's a player who we know has played through injury, and we know came back earlier than probably he would have done when Warnock came in last season, and has done a job for us, and definitely did a job for us last season, and he's still capable of that. But that's where I think the club need to just support him and recognise that. And not rely on him, because it's going to be the detriment of him as a player if he has to do that week in, week out.
Problem is, if you're a town striker, Johnny, you're only reliant on like Sorba Thomas. I don't think Koroma gets much in from his side of the flank. And honestly, I'm going to do it to death until we get one. But my words, get us a bloody 8 or a 10 and a quarterback in the ASAP. It's so frustrating watching Diarra, obviously Warnock's mentioned before, and we all seen it, the final ball, but it's just, we break so well and so dangerous and stuff as well. And I'm just thinking, if we've just got someone who could, I don't think that's helping Danny Ward at all, really, because there's no one, really that's going to do anything for him, and that as well, kind of essential. So it's like anything we're going to get, and Warnock hinted it yesterday, says goal scoring still looks a problem. We might get set pieces. We need to. Yeah, I think he was an interesting interview with that yesterday. I think he was like, as if to say to me, to Kevin Nagle, our recruitment team, come on guys, give me some help here, because we don't look like scoring. So interesting comments I thought yesterday.
That's not just from the striker either, because Danny Ward's having nothing created. Well, he's had nothing created for him for 3 seasons, has he really, Danny Ward?
No.
It's not just all on. I don't think a striker necessarily fixes that. I just don't think we're a particularly creative team, are we? That's where you need your number 8, isn't it? Your passing midfielder, and I've been on about that for over a year. So I've been on about since Aaron Moyle left, to be honest. But it's just one of those.
I'll get him out of retirement. Bloody hell! Come on.
Wouldn't it be
I'll
amazing?
put him a year's subscription at Marston's, a lifetime subscription at Marston's. Just anything. Aaron!
I know.
Please.
Right. You've heard what we've had to say about the game, so now listen to what the opposition had to say. This week's opposition report comes from Johnny Bullock from the Boro Breakdown.
Hello guys, John here from the Boro Breakdown podcast. Let me give you a bit of a review on the game today. And how was it? I think 1-1 draw. Was it a fair result? I don't really know. I think we should have really won the game from a Middlesbrough perspective. We created plenty of chances. We should have put the game about times. But saying that, Huddersfield create the chances themselves. They mainly come from set pieces. And obviously the own goal as well felt like, I don't know how it really went in, to be honest. But it did. And I thought after that spell for 15, 20 minutes, I thought you played some good stuff. But for the majority of the game, I thought Boro played really well at times. Definitely starting to click. Definitely a bit signs of encouragement because we haven't been as good over the last few games. I thought Laelaf was fantastic on his debut. I thought Engel was a bit safe on his debut as well, but he was good. Hayden actually played really well and he was deserving of his rocket of a finish as well. So the game itself, I'm still thinking of that Sammy Silvera chance, right at the end where he could have won it and probably should have won it. It was probably harder to miss than what he did. But, it's one of those things. Boro's look at the moment is just not with them, and we're not finishing the good chances. And that is just where we're at the moment. But it's plenty of signs of encouragement from a Boro perspective. I think Huddersfield will still need a bit of work coming in the end of the window. We definitely do. And it'd be interesting to see how we both fare out at the end of the window. But guys, thank you very much for having me on. Overall assessment, Boro should have probably won, but we didn't. And, Huddersfield have came away with a very, very valuable point.
Right, thanks to Johnny for providing the analysis from the other end. It's always nice to hear from Johnny. He's a really good lad, and the Boro Breakdown's one of the better podcasts you'll listen to if you do like to listen to opposition ones. What we'll do now, guys, is we'll just have a quick break for the ads, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about Delano Dr. Burgzorg. Okay, so it's all about comments and little things now. So Delano Burgzorg, I think what we'll do, Kosi, is we'll roll in what Sheridan Sparks had to say from the Unknown Mainz podcast, and then we can pick up on those comments.
From a Mainz fan's perspective, it's actually quite difficult to be able to judge Delano Burgzorg for you because he's not really had a chance to settle down with us. He's been at the club for about 18 months now, having joined on loan from Heracles in the Dutch Eredivisie, without ever really then settling into our team. He was brought in on loan at the time to strengthen our attacking options, and the deal was then made permanent in the summer. But if I recall correctly, he's not actually started a game for the club in that time. He's had a handful of substitute appearances where he's come off the bench and he's had his 15 minutes there and half an hour here, without ever actually settling into the team and becoming one of the first names on the team sheet. His 2 goals, for example, for the club in that time have been a couple of tap-ins, one in the league, which was a consolation goal, and one in the cup where we played away at a team that had been recently relegated into the 3rd division and ended up winning the game comfortably anyway. He's a quick player, he's agile, he's very direct as well. He's the kind of player that will pick the ball up and immediately get his head up and look to take on the man. But on the side of that, his decision making also isn't fantastic. There's been lots of situations where these substitute appearances where we have seen him where he's picked the ball up and had maybe 2 or 3 players ahead of him where a pass would have been the right option, but instead he's ended up losing the ball by taking on his man. So from a Mainz fan's perspective, like I say, it's very difficult to judge him and say Huddersfield are making a good signing, even if it is only on loan for the season. It's also worth noting that he was suspended from the squad a couple of times back in September and October of 2022 for a number of reasons, including turning up late to training. So whether he has an actual attitude problem is not something that we're able to comment on, or I'm certainly not able to comment on, because I haven't seen any reason that he has. But he has come a cropper to disciplinary action on a couple of occasions. So it would be interesting to see what happens if he does end up moving to England.
Right. So the that from Sheridan was hardly a glowing reference, was it? But he looked interesting, didn't he, when he came on Burgzorg? He
So how tall is he?
fast,
Bloody hell.
very
Huge.
quick. Yeah, he
Huge.
looks
How
very
big is he?
quick. He looks a good 6'3", 6'4", doesn't he? Very sharp. His touch is either Premier League or non-league. There's no in between, is there? You know, you get fizz it into him, and he'll either do something amazing or something terrible. He's going to be an interesting character. But Jonny,
It says he's 185 centimeters, Matt, on the sofa score. What's that in there?
It's about 6 foot, isn't it? He's bigger than that.
Yeah, he's a lot bigger than that.
Yeah. So it looks like a potential difference maker to me, Jonny. I know we only say that on what did he have, half an hour or so, but there just looks to be something there where he's different, and that extra injection of pace, the strange skill set that is almost like Jonathan Stead, isn't it? You know, with those sort of the long legs and the looping, lolloping, step overs, etc. There's potentially something there, isn't there? It could be an interesting one.
I think so, and I think again with a lead in press conferences and listening to Warnock and stuff, I think we're not going to be able to go out and sign a striker who is guaranteed. I mean, I know he's not necessarily signed as a striker, but he's signed as an attacking player. To help the attack, be that with assists or goals. We're not going to be able to go and sign someone who's proven at this level. 15 goals, 15 assists. So you've got to kind of gamble on a little bit of curveball, really. And do you do that from your lower leagues, or do you do that from abroad? In this example, we've done that from abroad. And I think to call him a difference maker, I think it's quite a good analysis, really. From just we've not really seen a lot of him, but we got the YouTube clip, didn't we, on the Twitter from the official page. I mean, anyone can look good in a YouTube clip, but he looked all right. So we've been burnt with that before, so Town fans will never trust anything that's on YouTube again. But I think what we want someone who's going to add something different to the attack. We've got a bit of height already. We've got kind of your stalwart, kind of hard-working bulldog kind of striker in Ward. So like last year when we brought in. His name escapes. We just gone back to Derby. Waghorn. They were very similar, weren't they? He's a bit of a atypical replacement. So this guy is somebody different. He's a bit of pace, which I think we do lack. We do have a little bit of pace in the team, but it'll help. And pace and height, if you can get him playing with a bit of skill, and he can make a difference. I quite like him because he seems a bit of a maverick. He's got a bit of a personality. He's got a bit of an attitude. That's not necessarily a bad thing. We've kind of heard that mentioned, but then I guess you've got the experience in a Warnock to try and manage that in the right way. And we've seen Warnock do that at multiple players over the years, probably no more and more noted than what he did with QPR and Tarat. I'm sure people have heard that story. So I think there's potential there for it to work. There's also potential to not work. But the money that we've got invested in it, and it's a gamble. I don't really see. It can't really be, it's not like a Diakabi where you throw millions away, is it? But I think we shall see, shall we? I mean, his record today isn't amazing. You're not going to look at his stats and get too excited. But I think he's a little bit of interest, a little bit of excitement, something completely different. And he's a kind of player you think, when he came on, I think everyone was a bit like, I'm quite excited to see what he does. If nothing else, that's a bit of a positive to have someone who looks and sounds a bit different around the club.
I'll tell you what didn't do in their favours, Matt. I was disappointed with the club kind of release. It said he was a striker, and then so everyone was nailing him. Look at them stats. He's not a striker at all. He's a winger who's played as a striker every now and again, and that as well. But so I thought whether put that together.
It's a very Warnock thing, though. Is that I think they just take a lead from Neil Warnock. He refers to like inside forwards and wingers as forwards and strikers, doesn't he? I think that's just a very Neil Warnock thing.
Although if you are looking at stats, I'd probably look his goal scoring stats are better than his assist stats. I think he's only had one senior career assist, but no.
I mean, he's been in different countries. Obviously, been in Germany, he's been in Holland, he's been in Italy for a little bit as well. But I mean, Mainz paid like 1.7 million for him. So I mean, obviously in today's game, but you can't be a mug if you get.
It's more than we'd pay, isn't it? More than we'd pay for the players. So
absolutely. And the fact that he like kind of just jumped in and arrived and seems to be happy to be here is really good. The one thing it was hard to understand, there was a couple of articles I read in it. It was said that the coach had, and I didn't know, it's just not in the plans or whether there's been some discipline issues at Mainz, but he was kind of saying the coach has thrown him out of the squad. It might be just the way they term
Turned up late a few times, I think, and
yeah, so there must be something in that. So it kind of felt like there's a bit one or two issues. But like I say, we've got Neil Warnock here who won't stand for any of that as well. So no, an interesting signing, Johnny. I know obviously not one to get the pulses racing too much, but it's and then when he came on yesterday, I thought he looked quite sharp, and his ball, the ball that he cut back was really intelligent for me, and that as well. Where I think most of us put it across, he cut it back, and we nearly had got in there. So yeah, and the fact that Warnock, when you look at some of them people that he could have put on, like Pat Jones, and obviously Hildred's been in good form. The fact that he's only been here for a few training sessions and Warnock feels thrown, I think he's probably going to come into training this week. Hopefully, thinking, right, this is it. The manager believes in me. He'll get me on that pitch against Norwich. So no, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so that's Delano Burgzorg. What a great name that is as well, isn't it? So I'm quite looking forward to seeing more of him, and I'm sure we'll see more when the King returns this Saturday at the John Smith's Stadium.
Not in David Antrick's eyes. Let's get back David now. David isn't a Wagner fan.
Well, Dave's a whopper because Wagner's got Norwich third in the league at the minute. I better not go too early with that, but he's got them third in the league at the minute and looking decent. So, you know, to be fair, Dave's never been a fan of Carlos Corberan when he was doing well, or David Wagner. I think Dave just doesn't like Huddersfield Town. Let's throw that out there. Let's just throw it out there that Dave just badmouths anything good about Huddersfield Town. Let's just
the rumour starts here. The rumour starts
exactly.
here. This is the source.
He doesn't really.
He's living in a dream. And Brighton can sell about £900 million worth of players and just carry on winning and stuff. He's just incredible, man. But yeah, mental. Dave, never forget where you come from with team, mate. Bobby Zamora.
Right, so I asked plenty of people so I've been throwing this out weekly. We do something called the away day log. So I did the first at Plymouth, and I managed to badger somebody to do this week as well. So this week comes from Hotline HTFC. You'll have seen him on Twitter, I'm sure. And here's what he did when he went away to Middlesbrough.
Good morning from Middlesbrough. It is relatively decent weather. The sun is out. Bit of wind, but I've braved it with the shorts and the t-shirt. Do you know what? I'm relatively confident. On the train up, to begin with, I didn't fancy us, but I bumped into a few Boro fans. They're not confident either. They started Matt Crooks up top against Coventry last week and got beat 3-0. They're not having him. They're not having Carrick at the moment. Confidence does not seem to be brimming over here either. So there's every chance for us today. Both teams not picked up a point yet. It's probably not going to be the most exciting game of football to watch. But you don't need me to tell you that 3 points is all that matters. Look, as I say, I'm quite confident today, quietly confident. If we play like we did against Leicester, I fancy us to come away with something, a point at least. But time will tell. Up the Town. Well, I'm really struggling to come up with anything for you here, Matt. It is half-time, Middlesbrough 0, Huddersfield Town 0. I'm in the Huddersfield Town smokers area, and there is just as much action going on here at half-time as what there was in that first half. Genuinely nothing has happened, and that's not coming from a negative standpoint. It's not coming from a positive standpoint either. Literally nothing has happened. Apparently Diarra hit the post. We're right at the other end of that, so I've got no idea if that's true or not, but that's the only ooh that's come from the Huddersfield Town away end. In terms of the home chances, I think Hayden Hackney played quite a nice 1-2 with one of their, can't remember who it was to be honest, but Lee Nicholls made quite a decent save. Other than that, I'm really struggling to come up with a report for you. Those at home, you've missed absolutely nothing from that first half, absolutely nothing at all. Yeah, let's hope for a better second one, but positives, we're not behind and we've got every chance. They're nowhere near better than us, so same as before. I think we've got a chance of coming away with 3 points here. It's not going to take a miracle. They're no decent and neither are we.
Corner, Sorba Thomas, crossed it, near post, home goal.
Home goal. You heard it there first. I've got no idea, Matt. I'm still in the concourse. Fucking brilliant.
Well, a hard 4 point on the road. To be honest, could have definitely been 3. But if I'm being really truthful, probably the fair result. I don't think either team quite did enough to win it, and to be honest, I'm pretty sure Boro had 2 big chances to win it in additional time. So it's one of those, a point on the board, point in the right direction, as many cliches as you like. We had our chances for sure. I honestly thought that Radoni chance was going in. Keeper's come storming out of his net, and it's fallen to Radoni maybe 20-25 yards out, and I thought he's lobbed him, and from our angle it's going in. Gutted to see that one go wide, but do you know what? Like I say, I don't think we can complain with a point, especially after 2 defeats to start the season. Obviously Boro haven't started well, but I still think they're going to go relatively well this season. I still think they're going to have a pretty good season. So, yeah, I think it's one of those where play by ear, that'll end up being a pretty decent point on the road. So, yeah, can't complain too much. Completely forgot to mention Burgzorg, who came on and for me made quite an impact. 2 moments for me stood out, one attacking, one defensive. I can't quite remember who he pulled it back to. I'll say Radoni, sounds quite realistic. Beat a man in front of us, pulled it back successfully, who we should have probably done better with that, to be fair. And then defensively, Boro broke away and he made a lovely professional foul, which is what we all like to see. And then himself a well-deserved yellow card. So no complaints in regards to Burgzorg. We'll take the point. We go again.
That's great. Thanks very much to Hotline. He wanted me to call him Hotline rather than his real name, so he wants to stay incognito on Twitter.
Matt, I think everyone
no idea why.
Coventry away Monday night. No. Everyone has plans that I spoke to. It's a gutting one, that, innit?
I had someone lined up to do our away day log for that, and now they can't do it for Coventry, which is a shame. So, but anyway, if you want to do the away day log, please get in touch with me. You can either get in touch with us on the socials, email me, matt@takesthatchance.com. My voice is going again. So if you fancy having a go at that, please do get in touch, because that's 2 down, 21 to go. Right, guys. So the Lionesses made the nation proud, yet quite sad this morning as they lost the World Cup final to Spain. So all eyes were obviously at the Stafflex Arena to see Huddersfield Town women, to see if they could cheer us up. And our roving reporter, The Juice, a.k.a. Brady Frost, went down to check it out.
Hey, it's Brady. I'm the main pod. Yeah, I know. Can you believe that? Have a word, Matt. Anyway, here I am. I'm in the car. You can hear my keys jingling. I'm about to start the engine. The engine to the start of the season for Huddersfield Town women. Yeah, so I'm going to go there and see them play in their first game of the season against AFC Fylde. Just on my way after I watched England women lose, unfortunately, the World Cup final to Spain. So I'm feeling a bit... I don't know. Spain played well. It's annoying. But yeah, hopefully Town women can cheer me up. So let's see. So I'm here at the ground. It's a fantastic little ground here at the Stafflex Arena in Stores Hall, if you haven't been. It's got a lovely view and the sun is shining. I can smell the football in the air. But yeah, I'm really excited actually. I've came here a couple of times last season, but I'm in the mood for football. Should be a really good game. So half-time, and it was 1-1. Really good end-to-end start to the game. Town went behind, but to their credit, they came back fairly good fashion, fairly responsive, which you want to see. And I've been enjoying it. I'm here with a couple of friends. Shout out to Ed and his girlfriend Cynthia, who've both come over from China to see the Huddersfield-Leicester game and Town women today. So yeah, fingers crossed. Let's hope we can see some more goals in the second half. So it finished 4-2. It was a really, really good game. So Town went behind 2-1, and then they just came back and from 2-1 down and won 4-2. Really, really fun, exciting game. Shout out to Brittany Sanderson, who scored 2 quality goals. First the equaliser, and then one afterwards. Saw the goalkeeper off the line, went for a speculative one, and absolutely just over. Completely, goalkeeper nowhere near it. Absolutely fantastic strike, and then comfortable finish from substitute at the end. Yeah, really, it's been a really good game. Really cheered me up as well, especially after the loss for the Lionesses earlier. So the sun is shining. Had a drink at half time. Been absolutely brilliant. Let's see if I can go speak to some of the players. Cool. I'm here with Beth Stanfield. Beth, first game of the season, 4-2. How was that?
It was hard, to be honest. it's good to get the 3 points though in the first win of the season. I think now we can build from that. First half was a bit shaky, but we grew into the game. You know, there's a lot of new players, and there's like some young players making the first start for us and stuff. So I thought we did really well to battle through it, because we went behind twice, I think, and we managed to come back. So yeah, really good, to be honest.
Yeah, 2-1 down, 4-2 winners. You must be pleased as captain inside.
Yeah, I think we really grafted hard in the second half to limit their chances. And we were quite solid, and we managed to figure out our pressing structure a bit better as well, because in the first half they managed to play out far too easy, I thought, but second half we kind of fixed that, and we managed to, I know they scored a chance, but we managed to limit their chances and then still go up the other end and score. So yeah, really pleased. Yeah,
it should be. Yeah, first game, first win.
Yeah,
many more to come.
Buzzing. Yeah, hopefully we could build on that from that now. But yeah, it's good to just get the first one under, and you're off to a good start, aren't you? So yeah,
no, that's great. So just back home now, but just reflecting on the game. £6 I paid for that. To go to Storsol. I know it's a little bit out of the way, but not too much, and it was really worth it. £6 I saw. We saw 6 goals. Just a really nice atmosphere as well, and I'm certainly going to try and come to more games this season, particularly when the men's team are playing away like they were this weekend. So really, really enjoyed that. If you do want to check out what the next game, they've got a cup game on the 27th of August, and then they're playing away in the league to Stoke City on the 3rd of September, and they're playing Halifax away as well, so you could probably get down to the Halifax game. But they're playing Burnley at home on Sunday the 10th of September, so try and make yourself to there. A bit of a Yorkshire-Lancashire derby, should be good. But thanks to everyone for listening. Hope you enjoyed this match report, and thanks to Beth for chatting to me earlier, and thanks to, just all the players and staff are incredibly welcoming. Up the town. Got a win this weekend and a draw. Get in.
Right, that's a great opening day win for Huddersfield Town women, beating Fylde 4-2. So thanks to Brady for his report there. So we're hoping to do a little bit more with Huddersfield Town women throughout this season, and maybe have 1 or 2 on as guests as well. Again, throwing it out there, if you guys want to do it, please come on, because that'd be great. Kosi, a couple of little additions at the end of the podcast here. It's going to be a quick one this week. One thing that touches, I was saying to you guys before we did this, I was at McDonald's in Kirkstall, and I happened to see a very nice, shiny black 4x4 BMW, and a Mr. Kevin Sinfield was sat in the McDonald's car park doing the old share meeting, where you don't actually dare go out and into the restaurant at McDonald's, and you sit in your car in the car park. What a great man. What an absolutely brilliant man he is, Kevin Sinfield, and the stuff that he's done for MND. And there's a miles for Marcus as well, isn't there? Which is something which will touch all Huddersfield Town fans' hearts who happened to see Marcus Stewart. He was such a phenomenal player for Huddersfield Town, definitely in the top 3 players I've seen play for the club. Really sad news that he's battling MND, but it's nice that the club have recognised that, and they're going to try and do something for him. Cause
brilliant, mate. And Kevin Nagle were as good as his word. I know, I'll say a friend of the pod, a host, presenter, Andy Cade's been on a few times, but he was kind of nudging Kevin Nagle in the summer. So we need to do something for Marcus Stewart, and we play Ipswich 30th of September, and it's going to be an 18-mile and a 4-mile option, Matt. So
shall we do it?
Around Huddersfield's landmarks as well, and it'd be nice. I'm sure some Ipswich fans are they're having a right start to the season, so I'm sure they'll bring a few that day, and I reckon they'll get involved as well. But just breaks your heart, doesn't it? MND, and obviously everyone knows that I like watching the Rhinos. So honestly, Matt, it breaks your heart. You see some of these old games they put on their Twitter feed or website, and they're up Boro. We're talking like 6-7 years ago, like just making
phenomenal
a
player, wasn't
he? And stuff. And now, he's just shocking. And obviously, everyone's heart sunk when we had the news about Marcus Stewart. But again, mentioned about the charity raising that we did. I think it was announced the other day, wasn't it? Was it something like £750,000 we raised with the cycling the end of last season as well? So this feels just like, for me, just like, I love stuff like this that our club just does, and it just brings everyone closer together. And obviously it's had to be a quick quick arrangement with the game coming so fast next month, at the end of next month as well. But I'm sure this town fans have a certain persuasion. Marcus Stewart will probably be their favourite player, name on the back of the shirt as well. And yeah, it's going to be an emotional day, that, for a lot of reasons, isn't it? And hopefully Stewie will be in the stadium so we can all show us.
Kosi just frozen a little bit there, hasn't he, Johnny? But
Love
absolutely
for him,
nailed
I
it.
think that was going to say. We're filling the gap.
Yeah. He's back now. But yeah, Kosi nailed that one, mate. I think, at least one or two of us will try and get down to do the miles for Marcus as well, because it definitely goes to something very worthwhile. The other thing as well, Kosi was wanting to discuss if he's still there. I don't know if he still is. He's kind of frozen at the minute. This is what happens with doing these things over the internet, isn't it, rather than in person. But there was a Youth Voice focus group as well this week for 14 to 17-year-olds, which Kosi has been looking into and thought that was a great idea as well. And, these are the next generation of fans, isn't it? I take a 5-year-old to the game. Johnny, sooner you'll be possibly taking yours as well. So, big times for the Gillespie household. But it is difficult, isn't it, to try and get youngsters away from things like esports, things like, the streaming, the Twitch and stuff. And there's a lot of choice and a lot of different things that they like to do these days. It's not like when we were kids and then on a Saturday you could either play on your Super Nintendo or go to the football. It's a little bit different now, isn't it? Where there's a lot of things, a lot of different options, a lot of things to do. And it's important that Huddersfield Town listen and try and understand how to, reach out to kids of this age and to make sure that they do come down to the ground and support their local football club.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing I'd add to that, by way of like the distractions, is there's so much more access nowadays to Premier League teams, other teams, foreign teams. And you see, when I was growing up, in Huddersfield, there were a few Man United fans. There were a few, pretty much Man United fans, or Huddersfield fans in that day and age. But nowadays, you see your Barca kits, you see your PSG kits. You probably start seeing. I've seen one child in a Saudi Pro League shirt with Ronaldo on. So
I saw one today as well. That was so weird. I saw Ronaldo one.
I kind of clocked it and thought, that's a kind of a line in the sand moment. But yeah, Joe, there is a bit of an evolution as children grow up. I think they'll kind of the bright lights of foreign football, broad football, and Premier League football will probably take their interest. And then as they grow older and mature and understand how football works, and you don't pick your football team picks you. Hopefully they'll kind of come back to us at that point. But there is a window of opportunity there where I think the club do need to understand that, for want of a better phrase, getting children in young and understanding that the club and being more engaging and accessible to younger children, be that activities prior, be that activities at half time, be that engagement with young fans and obviously young terriers clubs and stuff that they used to have, or probably still do have. This might need to be kind of tweaked and changed, but it's making it more accessible, it's making it more enjoyable for people of all ages, but not also be naive to the fact that you are then encouraging and creating an ongoing fan base that will kind of come in and bring their children and bring their children. And it is important. You see clubs do that a lot more with fan zones. I know our fan zone is kind of improved with the one game that we had. You touched on it last week in the podcast, and I think Nagel's very, very keen on improving entertainment and activities and accessibility for all fans outside of just the 90 minutes. But I only saw about it because Kosi mentioned it, but I do think it'd be really interesting to see what comes off the back of it, what the outcomes of that forum were, and then I do think that the club are not doing it as PR. I think they are very much, from the message that's coming out of the club, they are very much engaged in looking and listening to how they can change football between the hours of not just 3 and 4:45, but kind of before it, after it, and then during it as well. So these initiatives coming out, long may they continue. But again, it's one area of focus, but I think there's area of focus across different kind of sectors of Huddersfield, be that people of different ages, people with different ethnic backgrounds, and people with different financial abilities. I think there's a lot of work that the football club can do and has done. I mean, it's not the fact that it's never done that before. It certainly has. But I do think there's still a wide opportunity in Huddersfield to tap into to create more Huddersfield born fans attending the ground and not kind of looking at the bright lights of Premier League and football abroad.
Kosi, welcome back. You had some technical difficulties.
Yeah, my internet's dropped, but I've been up.
We're just talking about the youth voice focus group.
Interesting, mate. I mean, like for example, today Leeds have played Warrington, right? And there's been 15,800 there. When Leeds played Lee the other Sunday, there were 12,800. Today's family fun day, so there's like the main game was at 3:00. The academy played afterwards, and before the women played, and there's loads of other stuff going around. Obviously, everyone knows kind of Headingley cricket. There's Barnsley face paint, and there's obviously a lot of stuff town do. But I found it really interesting. There's like 3,000 extra people just kind of turned up for this event, and just like looking at what town is really interesting. Obviously, America, the big show, the stuff that they do. And I know it's not for everyone, but I just feel that Huddersfield Town is for so many people, such an inclusive place, and everyone wants their own thing out of the match day as well. There'll be quite a lot of people just, I'm not asked, get me in the ground at 2:55 with a pint, and I'm happy, and off we go and stuff as well. But I found it really good. I'm really chuffed to see Max Ferguson and the club looking into the 14 to 17 years. I think that's just it's a massive time in your life, is that, isn't it? Because you're heading towards your first job, kind of girlfriend. There's people that kind of takes people away from football at that age. So it's like, and what do people want? It's really fascinating. We've talked about it before, and some of the stuff on Twitter now. You look at Sky Sports News. That's a great example of like totally different now to what you've got these vloggers talking about transfers and this, that, and the other. But obviously the youth, like the age range that they want in that, they love all that kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, but so the club has got to find out like what works for a lot of these young people. And obviously people think of fan zones, but the fan zones that we had before, they were like computer games, Facebook. What do people want? It's like, again, going back to rugby, Lee Leopard, kill me for doing that. The guy there, the chairman, is incredible what he's doing. He's bringing like top loader to POW, like big groups and stuff, and the crowds are growing, and that's all. It's a proper event, and it is really interesting. But it excites me this little bit because I care about this kind of stuff, because I would. I mean, I spend most of the time in town with Scott Bradley till about 2:30, but I'd come to the ground at 1 to 1:30 if there were something in there. I'll never forget when we went to Colchester. That's a bit of a weird one, but a lot of years ago when Alan Lee got a goal in like 90th minute. But I remember because there's nothing near their ground. They opened their ground up at 1:00, and we went in their end, and we had pints for like total discount. It was like 50-60%, and I think you're going to see quite a lot of stuff that's going on. The big screen, I've mentioned it before, but you go to some of these grounds in Germany and Spain, it's a massive focal part of the stuff, and it's like, it feels like a show that's coming on. We hardly use it. It's garbage. It's ours. You just flash up the clock, and then that's it. The score. We know what's happening. You don't need to look at it, our score, but you should want to look at it. But yeah, I think Kevin Hill was going to sort all this out, and a lot of people get me a striker, and obviously top priority. But no, there's we touched on it obviously last week with the ongoing. Will we get the ground? Who's going to pay for whatever and stuff like that as well? But I'm glad I'm glad that became public, 14 to 17. And like you said, Johnny, it'd be nice to see what were kind of said really in that as well, because obviously I haven't got any children, though yours is too young to know. But like, what do the 14 to 17-year-olds at Huddersfield Town want on a match day and want from the club? It's quite interesting, I think, as well. Just like looking at kind of ironic, my Instagram, it's totally dead, by the way. I'm coming back in a couple of weeks on there, but the comments on Instagram seem to be from a lot of younger kind of audience, and some of the stuff you see, it's really weird. It's like, and the Twitter seems to be the kind of the Facebook. That's what I mean. You've got different audiences for different, that want different things out of town, and it's up for them if they can kind of nail it. I mean, obviously we've done well with schools and breakfast and stuff like that as well. But that 40 to 70, what do they want? Discount drinks, bands, fan park. I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but it excites me, all this stuff, and bravo from the clubs for doing the research rather than just saying, right, this is happening, support it, because what's the point if people want?
It's revenue as well. It's like it can be so much better. And I think I remember going to Burnley away last year, and obviously we took a decent fall, and that's a lot of people might have gone in as well. But they've got again, it's facilities you've got on your doorstep. They had a big sports hall right opposite where they kind of not their academy, but the kind of like centre of excellence that they have was normally based there. You kind of walk through, it's a big, they've like astroturfed the floor. They had loads of like park benches, a big screen showing the game. They had a couple of bars, so the queues weren't that long. They had Papa John's Pizza. There was some community takeover going on. There was like dances and things like that. And it was rammed. I mean, you must have had easy couple of thousand, if not more, people in there, all with a pie in the hand, all buying food, all watching the game beforehand, indoors. So if it was chucking it down, it didn't matter. And you think it's something so simple, but it kind of brings the community together. With the Burnley College, we're doing a lot of stuff there, but also it's money as well, because like you say, you've not got people. Not to say we don't want people to go into town Huddersfield as well, because obviously a successful football club supports that part of the community as well. But we could do something like that, I'm sure, and kind of look after it ourselves. And it's by way of looking to generate more commercial income, which I know, again, is one of the things that Nagel's looking to do. And it's kind of like, we'll wait and see on these things. It's a great opportunity there as well. And just having people in the ground with not great beer and crap food that doesn't even go to us anyway, it's just not a great way of doing things. But like we said, it's good that these things have been highlighted early doors and have been commented on quite a few times. It's clearly an area that is looking to improve. So excited to see what changes.
I think that's nicely put. I did say earlier, didn't we, that Kyle Hudlin's got a new contract extension. I don't think we mentioned that, did we? But yeah, a new extension for Kyle Hudlin. He's staying for a little bit longer. Nice reward for some hard work, I think, guys, don't you?
Yeah, definitely, mate. I mean, I went to that Stockport game when he were a bit felt sad for him, really, because he took the ball and he did some nice things early on, and town fans were we're just a piss take figure. I thought that's a bit disparaging, really, and that as well. I get he's tall or what have you, but support your player, mate. And I was chuffed when he slotted his goal in, and then here and the week after, again, he did his goal, and again, the Boro. So it's really good. I think it sounded like to me, again, Warnock might be talking shit if he's watching here, but it sounded like to me he was going to go out on a season-long loan again somewhere. And all of a sudden, he's like, he's going to be part of the plans as well. And I'm chuffed. Really. I watched a few B team games last year when he played and that as well. And there's definitely something there. But like we were on about, with his new signing as well, town need to do. I think you've said it before, Matt, and more to regards to commercial stuff with the club or even as chances. But if you're doing the same as everyone else, there's a bigger market. But like Hudlin's different, hopefully we get signings that are different as well. So no, well deserved, and it's. But again, it just shows that the thing I mentioned on the first pod, this big long bench. Pat Jones has probably gone on last night, pissed off because he's not got on. Again, Hudlin didn't get on. It's going to be so hard to keep everyone happy on a long bench. And I know Leeds fans are like kind of getting mad because they can't even fill a bench. But you know what, mate? I'd probably rather have people, because like Nakayama, trouble is not everyone's going to get on. So it's just going to be a wasted afternoon for a lot of them. So how they solve this puzzle is going to be interesting. But Kyle Hudlin, who would have thought that at, like at the end of last season, that he'd be, it feels a big part of our future.
Do you know his contract did run out? Was he in the last
year? I think it was going to be end of this season. But I think
that's
an option anyway.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move, because I think it's one of them where, again, it's a cliche, but it's a big season. It's a big season for a few players at town, but it's a big season for Hudlin, that if he does get opportunity to get championship games under his belt, like say if he does stay, doesn't go out on loan, I don't think we're going to get a striker who's going to be taking up all the minutes in the squad. Happily be proven wrong. So I think there's going to be opportunities offered for him to come off the bench and maybe develop that into a starting berth as well if he does well enough. So and if he does, then it's wise for the club to be a bit more protected than a player then looking to go out of contract, because we've seen that this season, the power that gives a player to then, do you know what I mean, either dictate what we can get for them by way of money or whether we want to keep hold of them. So I think it's a smart move. The fact that we're gambling on the fact that he might have a bit of a breakthrough season. If he does, the club are protected equally. So I think the players earned it. To a certain extent, it's not a great sample size, is it? But again, I think just to get a few more years under his belt, probably for not a massive increase salary-wise, I don't think it's a bad move from the club's perspective, from a heartless view, but equally from the player himself. I think, like I say, it's a big season. There's opportunity there. He's going to have opportunity to get minutes if he works hard enough. And like Kosi said, I think when I've seen him play, Stockport game and the Heron game, he's looked decent. He's looked good. So I think he's worthy of being given that opportunity as well. So I think it works to both sides.
Yeah, judge him on what he does, not how big he is. Judge him what he does on the pitch, and so far he's made an impact.
Right, that's it. I think, guys, have any other business before we draw this episode to a conclusion?
The only other business I want to crow about that podcast, Matt, you put me on with them Yorkshire guys, because it's dog eat dog on there, and they're ready to get stuck into me. But I predicted every result, not the score. I said we get a draw. I said Preston would beat Sheffield Wednesday. I said Leeds would get a draw. I said Hull would win Blackburn. I was a bit sweating on that because Blackburn took Leeds and then Hull come back as well. But yeah, and Rotherham, I said they'd. Who did they play? They lost, didn't they?
Yeah, they lost 2-1, didn't they? I can't remember.
Yeah, so
Sunderland.
Oh God, Sunderland. That's it as well. But I think what I'm trying to say is Yorkshire football. Sheffield United have started well, haven't they? So Yorkshire football is in dire straits. It's absolutely.
Did anyone see how did Bradford get on this weekend? Did anyone see?
Who?
No? Did anyone see?
Used out. I think it was trending. Used out.
It was, yeah. It's in small circles, yeah. I think
about
that's
our division, Matt. Before I go, I was chatting to someone in a bar last night, and it's just like you don't know who's going to win the games. I know probably Leicester are going to run away with it, but you feel you've got a chance in any game in this division, I think. I love it. I absolutely love it. It might not be the best quality, but it just makes no sense at times. But there'll be someone who'll get in them playoffs that we're thinking, how the hell are they there? But yeah, Viva la Championship, baby.
I think that's all we've got time for this week. So last week I threw it out there. If you fancy writing for our website, please get in touch with us either on the socials or email me at matt@takesthatchance.com. I had 2 people respond last week, which was fantastic. Hopefully they're going to start writing for us soon as well. So there's always room for many more on there as well. And also guests, if you do fancy that. So this week's apologies for the voice. My croakiness is out and over. Jonny, good to see you back on the pod again. Kosi, nice shirt, mate. Good badge. And we'll catch you all again next week.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. The colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.